trends that are driving mobility for us, we see the first one is really, I think we've all seen this in the last year, is specifically around that with COVID, things are moving from a experience in the store to actually having an online experience where you have less interaction. The two phrases you probably hear on that are buy online, pick up in store, and click and collect, or click and collect, depending on what part of the world you're in. From a experiential standpoint, this is driving a lot of having to have mobility in the hands of employees and associates. So you have a lot more of these rugged devices from Zebra and Honeywell. From a communication tool aspect, these devices, if you look back in the early 2000s, a lot of them were mainly a single app device. So something that was kiosk, you had inventory on it, and then that would be it. What we've seen trends from a lot of organizations is moving to adding communication tools. Originally started out with VoIP, and then it's moved into having things like chat, text messages, especially with younger associates. We see a lot more acceptance around having text between employees on these rugged devices or Android devices. I think the other thing we've seen that's really driven mobility in the retail space is inventory accuracy. And going back to, like I mentioned, in the 2000s, having inventory accuracy of 80% was considered good. But as soon as you start putting things online and customers are coming to the store to pick them up at the curb, you can't have 80% accurate. You have to be in the 90s to be able to have a good BOPUS or curbside type of experience. And with those curbside and customer pickups, one of the things we've seen is you have a lot more devices where if you take the device outside the facility, being able to have a cellular experience. And we've also seen a lot more companies moving to owning their own delivery, not using third party. It's been interesting in retail. So I think for a while it was a third party carrier will be handling delivery. We're seeing a lot more organizations that are moving to having that aspect on their own, getting their own cellular devices, moving from there. And then the last trend that's really driving more of these mobile devices into the enterprise is into the retail enterprise is just the employee expectation. So the workforce, Gen Z and the millennial workforce has always had a cell phone in their hands and has a certain expectation. Giving them a Windows CE device with green screen is just not acceptable. So from an employee retention standpoint, it's been something that's really driving a lot of the retail and large organizations going out and adding mobility into their enterprises. From a technical standpoint on the retail side, I think rugged versus consumer is a question. So at BlueFletch, we got asked this a lot. A lot of companies were looking at iOS versus Android. And really what we found is the companies that went iOS have all pivoted back to Android. So there are probably 3 very large customers that everyone on this call probably shops at that have all pivoted back to Android after they rolled out tens of thousands of iOS devices. And that was really related to maintainability and the ability to support those devices out in the field. From a market share standpoint, we do see rugged with Samsung is taking up more. I guess they are coming back in to the marketplace and putting more devices in retailers and really making a stronger play. Zebra has led the space for a pretty long time, and with Honeywell as a close second, and Samsung started to take more market share. With Android, I think that Android has definitively taken over from Windows CE. So I think around 2013, 14, a lot of companies were on the fence waiting for Microsoft to release Windows Mobile next, and it really never happened. And then tablets is something else. It's we've not seen a strong play for tablets yet. I think that putting tablets in managers' hands is really the thing we see the most. A lot of associates prefer a handheld as opposed to having a tablet device. But in the places we do see tablets, a lot of times it's Samsung is driving those. And then most of the experiences are, like I said, either managers or clienteling. And then last trend we've started to see is there's been an uptick in the last 2 years, or probably since COVID, around customers that are looking for solutions around RFID. The readers are starting to get cheaper. the ability to store data and capture as much data as you want has gotten cheaper. So this is really driving more retailers to look at RFID, and mobile devices are able to scan RFID. So some of the big trends we've seen. I think on the as you put more and more of these mobile devices into enterprises, one of the things that is definitely a concern for a lot of folks is the actual security of the devices. I think in 2018, the average breach for a retailer was in excess of $1.4 million per incident. So it's definitely expensive when you do lose data or something gets breached. It's even more scary when you start putting more and more functionality onto the devices. So as a device used to have one app, and now it'll have 20 apps, will have different communication tools and other things on it. Becomes a lot more important to have a really, really good experience around security.